East is braced for serious retaliation after confirmation an Israeli airstrike killed the man who's led Hezbollah for more than 3 decades. Hassan Nasrallah's death is a triumph for Israel and a potential tipping point in a wider conflict.
The body of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah has been recovered from a deep crater in Beirut after a strike from Israel killed the terror chief on Saturday. Here to help us understand what it all means and what might happen next is global futurist and foreign affairs expert Dr. Keith Suter. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Suter.
Thanks very much, Ben.
So what do we know about Nasrallah's death?
Well, it was done as a result of a highly sophisticated Israeli bombing raid. Part of the problem for the Israelis is that the place where he was hiding and conducting business was very deep underground. So it required a very powerful bomb to be able to penetrate so many layers of earth to get to him in his concrete bunker. But they're obviously successful.
And so what has been the response from Israel at their success, Hezbollah and even Iran?
Well, in regard to Israel, they're obviously very pleased with what they managed to achieve. This has come on the heels of that other successful operation, the booby-trapped pages, which killed or maimed many of the Hezbollah and other civilians in Lebanon. So the Israeli point of view, they're very happy. In the case of Hezbollah, they're still trying to work out how they're going to cope with the loss of so many of their own warriors, as well as the command structure. The worry that I have on that matter is that you're now going to get perhaps local Hezbollah commanders armed with all these thousands of rockets deciding just to fire them indiscriminately at Israel, because the view is, well, we've lost our commander, there's no clear command structure, we'll now go ahead and think globally and act locally. So we could see a ramping up by Hezbollah. Remember, this is a struggle that began one day after the terrorist attack by Hamas at the other end of the country on the Gaza Strip. And then the Hezbollah, a completely separate organization, the following day made the decision to support Hamas down in the south. And so they have said that they will continue their struggle in the north for as long as the struggle goes on in the south. Now, that turned out to be a fateful decision for Hassan Nasrallah, whom we haven't seen in public for years, because he knew that he was a wanted person by the Israelis. So you've now got some confusion within Hezbollah and the risk, obviously, of a major escalation, worse than we've seen since October the 8th of last year. In regard to Iran, by the way, Iran has actually hidden its own leader. He's now in hiding for fear that the Israelis will try to kill him as well. And Iran is trying to work through whether it just ramps up the conflict with Israel. It's avoided doing that because it's not yet ready for the war against Israel. It wants to finalize its nuclear weapons, and at that point it then becomes untouchable. So it doesn't really want to get involved with a struggle with Israel at the moment. But the problem is that Iran and its Hezbollah fighting force have sustained so many blows in recent weeks that there may be pressure on them simply to retaliate to avoid losing face.
Now, I remember when we first spoke after that original October 7 attack by Hamas on Israeli civilians, and we spoke about how sophisticated that attack was and the potential that Hezbollah may have been involved in some way. Is there any chance that Israel looks at Nasrallah's death like the US did with the killing of Osama bin Laden as a mission accomplished as retribution for October 7?
Yes, but the problem with the mission accomplished mentality is that quite often the mission is not accomplished. You've simply got rid of a leader, you haven't got rid of the fighting force. So Israel can destroy Gaza, but can't destroy Hamas. Israel can destroy southern Lebanon, but can't destroy Hezbollah. And of course, what's been worrying in the last few hours is that Israel is also attacking Yemen, where you've got the Houthi rebels that are also backed by Iran as well. So Israel is spreading its forces very thinly.
And so what do you think is the most likely outcome from here?
No one knows. And that's the worrying feature. Will it escalate up? Will we end up with a regional war? The Americans keep saying, no, we want to have a ceasefire. You had the Australian foreign minister in New York last week talking about a two-state solution. But both Hezbollah and Israel do not want to stop fighting at the moment. They want to continue that struggle. So who knows where it's likely to go in the next few weeks.
And from Israel's perspective, they seem to be on a bit of a roll right now. You think that emboldens them to just keep going?
Oh, absolutely, because they're very encouraged by what they've achieved so far. The problem is that they may need to send ground troops into Lebanon to finish the job. There's a basic issue of geography involved here. In Gaza, the land is basically sandy. So, yes, you can dig tunnels, but the tunnels can only be made large enough for one person to walk through. Whereas when you're looking at southern Lebanon, the tunnels are solid rock. And some of the Hezbollah video material shows them driving trucks through the tunnels. So the problem for Israel, if it does decide to have a land invasion in southern Lebanon, it could be caught up in a very dangerous struggle. And remember, the last time there was a struggle between Israel and Hezbollah 18 years ago, the Israelis were fought to a standstill. So there must be some members of the military who are reluctant to go in order to finish off the mission. But if they don't go in and destroy Hezbollah, well, then all we're doing is getting ready for the next round of fighting.
Yeah, it does seem as though no end is in sight, that's for sure. Foreign affairs expert Dr. Keith Suter, we always appreciate your insights on the Nightly Five.
Thank you.